Hey trackies, welcome back to another video here on TXT Track Time. Please remember to like the video and also subscribe to the channel. The Miramar Invitational, the clashes, mouth-watering clashes, and yes, I believe they definitely lived up to expectations. And I have to say, I'm excited as well seeing a few of the athletes come through because we've been waiting for them to come through for some time. And yeah, they have returned, and in my opinion, returned with a bang. Now, let's kick things off with the men's 100 meters. Now, they had two finals for the men's 100 meters after going through the rounds, and Jamaicans took both of them actually. So, let's go into the first final that came up with Bryan in that one, and he took the win trackies and he ran at 10.16 seconds. However, this was done in a positive four. Listen, 4.0 meters per second wind. This is crazy. This was a hurricane behind everybody's backs. But think about it. This is Florida. This is Miramar. This is what we come to expect every time you go to this meeting. So yeah, I'm not really surprised by the wind in these races. But anyway, 10.16. Felt the execution was strong from him. I mean, the time with a positive 4.0 isn't necessarily impressive, but it's still early season, guys. And I'm more so, as I said, looking at execution, and I thought it was very strong execution from him. Chichuru Ali in the race was second. He ran a 10.25. Nishani Banks was third with a 10.28. Strong was opening section of the race, faded towards the end, so he definitely has to work on his last 40 some if he wants to feature in the men's 100 meters for sure. And of course, Michael Campbell was in this race as well, and he was sixth, and he ran a 10.45 seconds. Right, so that's what happened for these athletes. I believe this is the opening 100 meters for all of them, if I'm not mistaken. So as far as I'm concerned, pretty strong opener for Bryan Lavelle. Even though this is the first race of the season, nothing to really take away from it other than to go back to the drawing board and come again. You can see areas of improvement for the other athletes, so I'm hoping that they'll be able to go back and improve. Now, in the second semi, we also, as I said, had another Jamaican win, and I thought this one was very, very exciting because we saw Yohan Blake come through, and I was like, yes, Yohan, wow. Now, y'all know I did that little video wondering if Yohan, should just hang it up, because honestly, it's a pain sometimes watching, these amazing athletes that have done so well for Jamaica when they're on the downward trend, and you're listening to everybody else, disrespect their legacy, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want this to continue anymore. You know what I mean? But you know what? He still decided to chug along, and I'm telling you, he's getting the results. So in this race, Rohan Watson took the win, dipping below 10 seconds. Track is 9.99 seconds. Now in second place was Yohan Blake, 10.06 seconds, and Alexander Ogando was third with a 10.14. Unfortunately, we had Sanjay Davis in the race, and he pulled up. I'm getting concerned about Sanjay because I do believe he's been pulling up quite frequently recently. So I'm hoping that they sort that out and it doesn't, progress, where it becomes, him being just progressively injury prone. I don't want our best athletes to be that. I realize a lot of our athletes with crazy potential always somehow are injury prone, crazy, right? So I'm hoping, they get that rectified, because when it comes to him, he has some top end that is undefeated, right? So we need him for the future, that's for sure. This was ran in a positive 2.7, so not as much as the first one, which was a positive 4.0. Strong execution from Rohan Watson. We all know he high knees to the ends of the earth, right? So lifting very strongly. Strong execution from start to finish. Interestingly, on the inside of him was Yohan Blake, also having a strong execution from start to finish, right? In the race, and based on the angle, I believe he was always in the race. It really showed towards the end where it looked like he was just flying through, but I thought he had a really strong execution from start to finish. 10.06 seconds. I was like, wow, Yohan Blake certainly should not give up for sure. He should keep going. And yeah, let's see what happens at the end of 2025. If he'll be able to make the team, go to the World Championships. I'm excited for him. Definitely happy to see him, come through as strongly as he did, given recent performance, as I said, where I was concerned, about what was going on with him. But yeah, great performance from him. Alexander Ogando ran at 10.14. As I said, this is a positive 2.7. So again, for an opening run for these athletes, I'm fine with what I saw, right? Just for them to know you continue to prep for the rest of the season. Now, In the men's 300 meters, Rasheen McDonald took that and he ran a 32.39 seconds. So happy for him. There. Now, we all know when it comes to Rasheen, sometimes we get great performances, sometimes we don't. He's been on a good stretch, I would say. I believe what crippled him at the World Indoors was really just navigating all those turns, right? That was evident to me based on what I saw. So he's still in great shape. So I'm really happy for him. He's on a good little stretch, as I said, and I'm hoping that this continues for him. Because yeah, Jamaica needs him as well. As much as some of y'all want to knock him down, I definitely believe that we need him. He's definitely shown up for us time and time again, and he keeps to do so. So congrats to him on this win race here. Now, the women's 300 meters. That is an event that again, we were all looking forward to wondering who would take the win. Going in, given the amount of performances that we've seen from Julien over distance, the distances they tend to compete in, 100 and 200. If they're running anything longer than that, then clearly that's over distance. So we've seen a few threes, 4x4s as well. From the athletes, I believe Julien also did run a 400 indoors, I believe, or was it just threes? Anyway, we've seen quite a few over distance from her. Shericka Jackson just coming back from injury, did a couple 60 meters, right? And to come into a 300-meter against a Julien Alfred that is this race ready and race sharp, for me, it was exhilarating. And in my opinion, I believe Shericka Jackson did the damn thing. Now, taking the win was Julien Alfred, just narrowly from Shericka Jackson. So it was a 36.05 seconds to Shericka Jackson, 36.13. And taking second was from Ivory Coast, Jessica Bai, and she ran 36.24. Tina was also in the race and she ran a 39.61. She seemed to be struggling a lot towards the end. We all know short sprints tend to struggle when it comes to these over distances. That's fine in my opinion. She just has to keep working, and Tina is working, so I'm really happy for her. Julien, I'm not surprised. I did think, Julien might get the edge. I was hoping that Shericka would, but given what, as I said, where the season has been for these athletes, my expectation was to see Julien win. So I'm not surprised. What I will say though is that Shericka Jackson, after not competing in the 400s as much, we all know she dropped the four and she's now focusing on the one and two, which means that she hasn't been running the fours as much. And some people don't realize how much the 400-meter training has actually helped these sprinters over the years. The same thing for Usain Bolt. I believe that competing over the four has helped them in their earlier, part of their careers to be so good in the one and two. And I think that Shericka Jackson, for her to continue improving, she has to continue running those over distance races competitively, not just in training, but I believe so competitively as well. So I was happy seeing her run this 300, and I was happy seeing her run it so strong as well, because it was only towards the end of the race where Julien Alfred overtook her slightly to take the win. I thought it was a very measured and balanced run from Shericka Jackson in this particular race, which, as I said, bodes well for Shericka in the two. She's the fastest woman alive, living 21.41 seconds, and she's eager to retain her crown. Remember, she's a defending champion in the 200 meters. She ain't playing no games when it comes to that 200 meters in 2025, especially with Julien, knocking on the door when it comes to potentially wanting to win gold. We see the effort being made with her running all these over distance. We know what she's targeting. We know she's targeting running faster, and clearly running faster means that you're trying to take down other people as well, including Shericka Jackson that is standing ahead, Gabby Thomas as well, ahead of her. So for Shericka Jackson, she definitely needs to be on her toes, and I like what she's doing here, and I definitely think it's going to bode well for her over the one as well. Clearly, it's going to be helping her as well, but more importantly, the two, I definitely think it's necessary. And you can't see everybody else working on their strength and you only work on speed. You need to make sure that you're working on strength as well and getting back in, far as I'm concerned. So great going from Shericka, great going from Julien. Overall, I thought this competition was great. 100%. I don't know if I touched on the women's 100 meters. Let me jump back because I sure I didn't. Did I? Did I? No, I didn't, because there's another event. Right. Right. Here we go. Because in the women's 100 meters, I don't know how they slipped me, but I was definitely looking forward to seeing Briana Williams return. Yes, guys. So, as I said, I was excited for Yohan, and Briana Williams is also one that I'm excited for. Hasn't raced in a minute. So, I was interested to see what she would come with, and she did not disappoint. And I'm thankful that she is returning and ready to vie for potentially one of those spots to represent Jamaica to the World Championship. Still a long season ahead, but is a great start because she came up against some of the athletes that will be featuring at the Jamaican trials if she wants to take them down. And I thought it was a strong run, especially the fact that she hasn't run all season. As I said, no indoors going on for her at all, just working in the background training, and for her to come out this strongly for me was amazing. So taking the win in the women's 100 meters was Kayla White, and she ran a 10.99 seconds, dipping below 10 seconds. This race was running a positive 3.3. So again, not a legal win, but still, I was looking more so at the execution. Briana Williams strong from start to finish as well. I saw Natasha challenging a bit, but Briana came back, and that's what I loved in the race. She didn't just fade away. She came back strong towards the end as well. She gets a good start when it comes to her racing, and she continued that. I think midway down the race, you could see Natasha, eking into second as far as I'm concerned. Around 80, she was still there, but Brianna eked her way back in. And I love that. I love that fight. And yes, I definitely believe that after watching this, she's definitely returned and she will be vying strongly when we get to trials. But until then, great start as far as I'm concerned. Natasha, strong going as well. She has been running 60s this season. She went to the World Indoor Championship, so she's a bit more sharp when it comes to competing. I thought this was a good run from her. Didn't compete as strongly as I thought she would at the World Indoors. I was expecting, to see some 7-1s. Didn't see that from our athletes, but she came back here and she competed strongly. As I said, I didn't say Brianna's time. Brianna ran at 11.07, so great running from her. Natasha Morrison 11.08. Right, Serena Nicole was also in the race, 11.25. She was fifth, and Yanni Daly, she was eighth. She ran at 11.44 seconds. So that's pretty much what happened in the women's 100 meters. Overall, trackies, I'm pretty excited. What I saw from the athletes, overall, I loved what I saw from Bryan Level, loving what I'm seeing from Briana, Natasha, right? Of course, Serena them are still, Serena them, Serena is still, fighting the fight. And I like the fact that she keeps pushing along. Shericka as well, Rohan Watson. I'm just loving what I'm seeing. Yohan Blake, I'm just loving what I'm seeing overall from the Miramar Invitational. The 4x1 is to come. I'm wondering if Kishane is going to run that. Let's see. I'll keep you all posted. Like the video, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.